guys, T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review, and today we're taking a look at Armada Tidalwave. And this is a toy that he's pretty old now and he can be had for fairly cheap, but he's kind of still a fun toy. It's actually one I wish third parties would take a look at and do something, because I think there could be a pretty awesome third party Tidalwave. But regardless, let's look at the toy. Just real quick, we'll bring in Bumblebee here to show some relative sizes. You can see basically every piece of this ship is roughly like a deluxe size toy, a bit of a big deluxe size toy, but each of these three pieces of, I believe it's referred to as the Dark Armada or the Dark Fleet, is what these three ships are, and they're all roughly deluxe size. Let's start with looking at the little aircraft carrier one here. It doesn't look terribly aircraft carrier, it's really kind of stubby looking, all things considered. Kind of reminds me of Broadside a little, except that we actually have the tower here where Broadside didn't. But the reason we'll take a look at this guy first is, as you can see, there's the different color here and exposed piece here. We push up on it and that actually brings up our Minicon Ramjet, and we can just kind of pop him out of here. He has to fold up to actually store in here, but pretty cool nonetheless to have a little Minicon stored that ends up being a little airplane for your aircraft carrier. He is ultimately a tiny bit big for the aircraft carrier, but regardless it still looks good. That's pretty much everything about this aircraft carrier, so we will put it to the side. Now before we go on to the other parts here, I do want to show that Ramjet is a pretty small overall Minicon in terms of his overall size here. You can see here's one part of the Star Saber. Here's that helicopter Minicon that's pretty easy to find. And let's actually get this guy transformed real fast here. And we will compare him to Ramjet here, just so you can see overall size. Actually, in bot mode, Ramjet does end up being kind of pretty big, but he's not a very good looking Minicon. In jet mode, he looks good. Alright, so apparently the helicopter guy doesn't really want to stand. We'll just borrow the second piece of the ship, and we'll transform Ramjet. You basically take this, fold it on back, fold his little wings on up, come down to the bottom here, flip this around all the way, and flip this up, and that's his feet. You can see that the legs are fused together, and then you flip these down and there's his arms. He has pretty poor articulation, and you can see he's quite a bit smaller than your conventional Minicon, but that's okay. So we'll come to the second piece of the ship here, which is, I'm not really sure what it is, but you can fold these wings down if you want. I like to save it for the combined ship mode and just kind of leave them folded up. I can imagine these things opening up in some kind of, seafaring vessel coming out of here, some like little attack boat or something, if this is the command center. And what you can do here with the Minicon is open this on up, and this is quoted as a base mode, but to me it's more like a troop transport mode, because you put these little seats down here, making seats like that, and you could take your little Ramjet or any other Minicon that has some knee articulation and kind of sit them in there ready to go off to combat. So not a terribly interesting add-on, but still something that the extra piece does here. Finally, we got the last piece of the boat here, which is honestly kind of the ugliest looking piece. Without any of the extra bits on it, it does end up looking a little bit weird with the two front pontoons and then just nothing on the side. You obviously have a nice sculpted bridge. These guns on the side, you can kind of put up and down the guns. They don't usually stay up for some reason. Those two will, but this one you can see just keeps falling down. Yeah, but you take your Minicon here, and I'm just gonna semi-transform him back so it makes it easier. And when you plug him in up here, as you move Ramjet back and forth, it actually moves all 4 guns, and then these 4 like small little missile type turrets inside. And that's the extent of your minicon function here. This particular part also has 2 missiles that go in the front that eject by just a standard launcher mechanism. It's weird to see that there's 2 minicom ports on the top, but they don't actually control the launch of the missiles. I don't know who decided that. I do have the missiles, I just don't have them with me. They're just red missiles, nothing interesting. So as I had mentioned earlier, there is a combined ship mode for these guys. So what you want to do is kind of take this here and spread it apart like this. And then we're going to take our aircraft carrier and take these out to the side like so. Just kind of plug it on in to these. So you see we got this going on now. And then we're going to come back to this piece, split this open like so. And you'll see the round piece, you're just going to clip it on like a big 5mm clip. And then kind of angle these legs. Let me zoom out here so you can see this a little better. Angle these legs back like so, and then on the sides there's a little clip here, and it's just gonna go underneath the deck surface here of this boat. It's kind of hard to show it going in there, but that will ensure that you got the right positioning on this guy. And then we can flip out these little things because I think that looks good like that. And now you can see we've got the combined ship mode, which now is actually a really impressive piece of plastic. Again, we'll put our Bumblebee in here and you can just see just how big he is with all the combined pieces. I really like this combined ship mode. Now, if you've ever played the Armada PlayStation 2 game, or if you haven't, I recommend it. It's actually one of the better Transformers games that exists. And this guy has a really awesome transformation. So let's show that right here before we actually do the real transformation. So, unfortunately, transforming this guy is not going to be nearly as cool as that video from the PlayStation 2. But, yeah, let's actually get to transforming this guy. What we're first going to do is kind of disconnect his legs there from those tabs, like so. And then rotate them so the screws are facing out. And then what you're going to do is take this whole piece here and swivel around his waist like that, and then we'll flip out these little purple feet, both front and back, and the top flap here will make kind of a layered look, and we'll do that again for this other side here. And this is a big fellow, as you can see. There we go. Like so. And let's raise the camera up here so you can see what's going on. We'll come up to the top here and split this apart like that. And you have to kind of get these green pieces up before you bring them all the way down. So kind of tilt it, lift it, and then bring it down. And even then you're going to want to keep it like this because we're going to need to spin his chest piece like so. You can see his head is kind of revealed there. And we'll bring these on down. And then moving on down just a little, we can rotate his hands and give him a elbow there. And actually this little piece here does pop out to make his fingers look a little bit nicer. We'll do that for this side too. And I have no fingernails, so I can't get that out. There we go. And then simply, last thing you're gonna do is manhandle his head and just pull it straight up. So this is an old articulated toy. You're not gonna get a whole ton of articulation, but get him all in frame here. But he is still a very cool toy. Your articulation for this guy is pretty basic. You have no head articulation. You do have the arm rotation. Great ratchet. Goes in and out. If you want, you could kind of articulate the pieces of the ship up to get more range of movement, but it looks kind of weird like that. You do have the elbow rotation, the actual elbow joint, the fingers you saw. You do have a waist. Unfortunately, your legs are kind of limited. I want to get a second one of these so I can make him have a better, actually everything. I want to improve his waist and improve his head. But what you end up getting is the forward and back of his legs and the in and out, and that's about it. You could give him a wide sumo type stance, I suppose, just due to the transformation, but there is no knees, which leaves him a bit limited, which is really kind of a shame because they could have just cut off a bit of this here and put in some kind of knee joint, and he would have been infinitely better. Now if you look at some of the weird things, there's little things like this and this tab that slides down. This guy actually is intended to combine with Armada Megatron, which really doesn't make sense when you consider how big this guy is compared to Armada Megatron in the TV show and such. But whatever. He combines with Armada Megatron. I don't have Armada Megatron to show you, but whoops, I will show you some pictures at the end of this video of that. So let's bring back our size comparisons here. Here we got our little Minicon, looking all awesome, and our hubcap here. Now everybody always wants to see some of my customs, so here is a custom Grimlock from the Voyager Optimus Prime for Beast Hunters. And the final thing I've got for size comparison, just to show how big this guy is 3/5 of the TFC Superion here. If he'll stand, might have to borrow some stability from Tidalwave here. There we go. You can see like Tidalwave actually is a pretty darn big figure compared to some of these really expensive figures. So yeah, he is a cool toy, a little bit limited, but I think he's cool because you can have him for about $25 to $30 if you look on eBay. There is the Japanese version is called Shockwave, and he is got some really awesome paint jobs. It's all like a darker color than Armada Tidalwave, and I think they look awesome. I'd love to own it. The Energon one has some transparent bits like up here, and he does nothing for me. I'd say get this one or the Japanese version. But considering he's limited, he's pretty cool. A little bit ugly from behind, nothing that some paint couldn't fix. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I will see you next week.